everybody, it's your girl Taylor from Got You Aesthetics, and today I thought, why not let us go back to the basics and let's talk about line work so that your Frenches can always be Frenchin and your stars can always be starring, and so on and so forth. So let's get into it. So for right now, I have a cute little pink base that we're going to be working on today, and I got this You Shine Metallic painting gel from Amazon actually, because I tried some that I got at our beauty supply store in Winnipeg and actually find this one is better, weirdly enough. So I thought, I'm falling into myself. Okay, so I thought, what is one of the best ideas for showing how to do line work? And I thought that stars are a really good starter, and then also Frenchies. So we're going to be talking about that today. So one thing about when you are doing line work is, depending on how fine of the detail you are doing, you're going to be wanting to drag your brush and the polish away from your mount. And then if you need it to be finer, you can do something like that. I like doing that kind of cross T effect. So you're still removing some of the excess, but you're not removing too much of the excess. So when you're thinking of star, you are thinking when you're thinking of a star, you're thinking kind of like an A, and then you're gonna cross it and then connect the dots really on that circumstance. Or connect the points is another way of saying it. So we're gonna start off with our arch, or our A, in however you'd like to describe it. And just take note of how I'm holding my hands. You can see it kind of from the front, but you can also see it from the camera. So I'm having my pinky under the one finger, and then I rest my other finger, depending if I'm doing nails on a client or if I'm doing like a press-on set, I can rest it on here on this little stand, or I'll rest it on my pinky as well, so that you have more control of your brush. It will also stop shaking. So if you find that you're just like lingering in limbo with your brush and then your hands are getting a little tired, so it's promoting shaking, that is the difference from when you're having a shaky line work day and when you're not. So it's a very good habit to get into, of making sure that you're resting and balancing yourself. Another thing I like to note for when you're doing line work, and I'll kind of do a close-up here. Yes, there she is. So my brush tips slightly downward at the tip. So you want to make sure that you're working with that tip in your own benefit. So if I ever have a slight curve at the end of my brush, I make sure to use that as my drawer. I don't let it be the side. You could use it for the top, but you're not going to be able to make as fine of a tip leaving it at the top. And you're not going to be able to make as exact of a line leaving that little point at the side, because now you're going to always be fighting with trying to get that line completely straight. So that is also another thing that you want to think about when you're doing line work. So I'm going to apply a little bit more brush, because one thing that you'll find out about me is that, especially with my game pen and it's my dominant hand, is that I get polish all over the damn place on myself. So that is just something to note. Okay, so now that we did that beautiful arch, I am now taking to make that cross section. I'm applying it like a bee sting. It's a little thickums, but we'll work with it. So now I'm just resting my hands differently, because I have my pinky is kind of deformed from injury, so I also have to make things kind of work for me in my own circumstance. I like being able to rest. So now we you're connecting the one corner to the next corner. Easy enough. And then I'm going to connect the other corner to the next corner, but I think I might want to extend it a little bit more because looking at how far that one is down, I'm finding that little point on my little downward spout of my brush. Alright, we're on the right path. So I'm thinking this star is looking pretty cute so far. I'm reapplying a little bit more pigment to my brush. And now we're going to reapply. So just filling it in. Gripping any places like that one side that's a little bit bumpy. Making it all kind of nice and concise. I might have to fix that with a cleanup brush. Now that I'm looking at it. Making sure that it's there. Trying to make sure I have good hand stance all the time, because hand stance is important for having straight lines. Finding my point again. If you're a person that has struggles with like making it sharp, not having that, you can always do cleanup. Cleanup is always acceptable. Your girl will appreciate it if you clean her up. And then as well, easier to start, instead of starting from the tip, to start from the center and drag outwards as well. So now we're cleaning up the other spot that I was talking about earlier with this one side of the nail. Looks like we're also having a little touch up over here where that one little spot is. And also filling it. Cute. So there we have our star. And she is looking pretty crisp, pretty minty. Quite reflective, so that's always nice. And just so that I don't kind of waste my product here, I'm going to also use this for the French tip. Because I kind of went a little overboard with it. So I'm actually leaving this to be a little thicker than I did for my star, for my application of my star, just because you're gonna need a lot of it at the end of it, so that's okay. I start off from the middle and then work my way upwards because you want it the crispest around, oops, I'm showing you guys here. You want it the crispest around here. So the middle part's okay to have some extra to the crispiest. So again, we're gonna get a good stance. We're going to find kind of the middle for us. And on a press-on, it's very easy because you can just kind of swoop like that. On a person, you're going to have to do a different circumstance. So let's pretend we're doing kind of a person, because on a press-on, you can just do this. You can also do this on a person, depending. But more or less of the time, you're going to kind of do this to start. And it's just that easy, just because of my stance, of how I'm holding my hands. to make that beautiful line. So just to make it, to kind of show again, I find that holding the pinky underneath, having my other finger rest on it is kind of super helpful way to go about it. So we're gonna do it again. Start from here. And then if we were to do this on a press on, you can easily enough just do this. And then boom, you have yourself another beautiful smile. Again, I feel like this will kind of look cool. Doing the stance, that helps out a lot so that you're not shaking like a mad woman, scaring your client, wondering what she's gonna end up with. Yeah, so I think that's looking pretty cute. It's looking pretty futuristic. Well, if we're doing a star, why not show you guys how to do an easy heart if we're doing this, because the hearts also have a cute little point to them. Okay, and just so for the heart, I'm adding quite a bit more pigment, just because I think I want the heart to be a little bit bigger. So we're gonna start off with one circle, and you want your circles to kind of match in so that your one side of the heart isn't gonna be ridiculously bigger than the other and it look off center. Now we are getting our stance again. Mind the hand placement, because it's important to always be slightly resting on something. You get a way better turnout if you're resting on something. Now, I see these cute, like, I don't remember the style, it's the name exactly, but it kind of looks robotic, futuristic, with this kind of pigment that you'd be using, and then they'll have these cute little horns sticking out. So again, I'm working with the point in my favor, and then cute. That's looking kind of fun. Something else that might look kind of fun and to also practice line work would be flames. Flames are a thing that you're gonna run into a lot because lots of girls like getting flames done. So, that tip of that flame wasn't as good. And open these hands. great thing about flames is that you can make a flame look cute. Even if it looks a little wonky, a flame will look cute. As long as you're not applying it too thickly, again, following the aspect of bringing your polish away from the polish mound. Moundist pile. Maybe let's do this. Because one thing about that kind of, I think the Ukrainians really took that one style off, is that it's always like curved into the other. It's not like any, there are like crisp edges, but there's not like really jagged edges. Perfect. We're getting somewhere here. Then I guess another great example too would just be one of those classic dotted stars. And how to do that nicely. So with a dotted star, you really don't want a lot of product on your brush at all, because you have all the product you're working with on that dot right there. I'm noticing I'm slowly running out of room, but that's okay. So understands. We're going up. See, I'm putting my pinky under my thumb because that's the best mode of transport. I'm also very close to the polish, so I'm resting my other finger kind of on my knuckle there. And now I'm coming from the side. With the point downwards. Little tiny lines. Hard recording and doing nail art sometimes because it's like, oh, I'm trying to speak, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. So bear with me in my moments of silence. So there we are. I think this one needs to be just a hair longer. So I got one little star guy there. I feel like we need one other thing on the other side. So let's do kind of like one of those, like the little bit of the Ukrainian designs I see. It kind of, so like let's say it kind of looks like a flame. So I start making something like this. But then, like a flame, I want it to kind of look something like that. And then we're going to give it a tail of sorts. And then we're also going to do something like this. Ooh, maybe let's do some barbed wire on it. Barbed wire is always fun. Can I remember how to do barbed wire? Okay, so I think barbed wire, if I remember correctly, I'm hoping. Just a little bit of something like that. Everything like that. So you basically want to do a couple C's. One C on one side, one C on the other, but fill it with a couple lines to start. 2 to 3 lines look nice, and you want to make sure that they're kind of close to each other. Oh, many heart attack thinking that I didn't have this camera on. And then I think a little bit more barbed wire. We'll see. Boom! So, I think that is a pretty good demo for doing line work. Again, it's all about how you hold your hands to get it the most crisp. And then also clean up, girl. Never be afraid to clean up. No one's gonna be offended if you gotta do a little bit of cleanup. They'd rather that you do that and it looks really, really nice. So, think these are all kind of good little examples, including like to do a nice easy smile line. I'm still always trying to remind myself to always have a good stance, because again, you're tired or whatever, you're like, things are just not working for me today. It's because you're exhausted and you're not remembering to do your handstands. And then you're also not remembering to, I'm just gonna put that into the light. And then you're also not remembering to take away from the pile. And then if you're doing really crisp lines, you're not Xing the pile to make sure that you have that good point. Maybe you're not looking at the tip of your brush, and maybe your brush also has a little bit of a tip. Maybe your brush has a little bit of hair. There's actually a little tiny hair on the brush right now. But that will also severely affect your line work if you got a hair, even the littlest hair stuck on it. Maybe sometimes it can work in your favor, but for the majority of the time, it will not. But yeah, I thought I'd do kind of maybe a little easier, fun, people can try it at home video. If anyone's interested in doing nail art and trying it out themselves, I thought this could be some cool, helpful tips. Comment if you have any ideas, or if you enjoyed, you're gonna try this out yourself. Like if you had a good time, and subscribe if you want to see more. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.